Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Congresswoman Kathy Castor of Tampa Bay's Congresswoman, here with Paul Anderson, the Executive Director of the greatest port in the state of Florida, Port Tampa Bay. Port Tampa Bay is one of the state of Florida's most important economic engines. It's Florida's largest seaport. It handles over 37 tons of cargo every year. Physically, it is one of the largest ports in the United States of America, so it is poised to grow. Paul, I want to thank you for your outstanding leadership. This is a port that is on the move already, and now, with the passage of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, we're going to create a lot of jobs. We're going to create a lot of economic and business opportunities for this region, and a lot of hope for our neighbors here who are interested in lower costs, lower prices, and a free flow of trade and commerce. What is beautiful here about Port Tampa Bay as well, it's one of the most diversified ports in the country. That has really sustained us during economic downturns over the past decade, and it is one of the strengths here in the Tampa Bay area. We're talking materials to fertilizer to dry bulk like cement, and of course cruise passengers, and then the heart and soul of Port Tampa Bay is the ship building and repair. As we were working on this historic investment in America's infrastructure, Port Tampa Bay is always central to the vision of what we want to continue to do here in building our economy and providing economic opportunities for all of our neighbors. So I'm really proud to announce here this morning that Port Tampa Bay is poised to benefit significantly by the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Ports across America will receive over $5 billion in infrastructure investments. We're talking about the navigation channel, simply dredging in Tampa Harbor. Already the Army Corps of Engineers has received a bipartisan request from the congressional delegation to keep the Tampa Harbor free-flowing and dredged and up to date with all of the modern technology that we have. New investments in operation and maintenance, new investments in infrastructure, investments to ensure that Port Tampa Bay is resilient to the changing climate, to whether the sea level is rising or you have extreme temperatures. Footprint in the operations here at the port, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act will provide the resources to Port Tampa Bay to do that. Here's what's new as well. Here's this beautiful, dynamic, diversified port in central Tampa, but it is surrounded by residential communities that continue to grow just across the street, across here at Harbor Island, Davis Island, all down to Port Red Wing and Apollo Beach and South Hillsborough County. This new Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act has new investments to help lower the carbon footprint and emissions that emanate from a lot of the port operations. That means the air we breathe will be cleaner, and we'll take a stab at reducing the costly impacts of climate change. There's another point here that it's not just the dollars that will flow into the port to help lift businesses and create economic opportunity. How well positioned Port Tampa Bay is to benefit the overall infrastructure investments in improving our roads and bridges, improving our water and wastewater systems to keep Tampa Bay healthy and clean, because this is the port in the southeastern United States that handles most of those construction materials: cement, steel, pipelines. So not only are we going to make investments that will benefit the port itself, but this Port Tampa Bay is the linchpin to creating jobs and providing economic opportunities as we repair our infrastructure across the Tampa Bay region. So Paul, I'm really excited about what you have been doing here. It is a remarkable, dynamic, diversified port. We're so lucky to have this port. I think it's an underappreciated economic engine for our region. I've often told you that, but I think we're poised now to grow and benefit by leaps and bounds. So thank you for what you're doing, and good morning.
Very much, Congresswoman. She said it all. I don't have anything else to say. No, good morning. Again, welcome to Port Tampa Bay. I am Paul Anderson, President and CEO of Port Tampa Bay. Beautiful day here. This is a typical day here at the port. You can hear shipyard workers behind me, welders, pipe fitters, working on construction, defense contracts down the way, ships being repaired. Our cruise ships are back to business. It's really a great day to be in Port Tampa Bay, and it's even better because Congresswoman Castor is here, who's been so supportive of our port in building the infrastructure. And the good news is, as the nation's supply chain is experiencing, Back Bay remains open for business. We are open every day, 24/7, 365, to serve the customers that serve the region of Port Tampa Bay. And to the world and to our shipping customers that own cargo, we want your business here in Port Tampa Bay. I'm asking for it here today. We have global connections with no congestion. Our port is the largest and most diverse in the state, as the Congresswoman shared with you. There's a wide variety of cargoes. We're very diverse, and that really gives us some immunity to economic downturns. And we saw that both through economic downturns, through the financial crisis, we saw it through the pandemic. Not only did we remain open for business, but we were bringing in materials that you saw ongoing during the pandemic: road building materials, aggregates, steel, lumber for housing, as well as being the largest fuel gateway in the state of Florida, bringing in almost half the fuel that Florida citizens use every day, as well as a major cruise hub. We have 6 vessels now back starting in early November. They're almost back up to full speed. The $1.2 trillion Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act is a major positive step for our nation and in a significant investment in our nation's seaports. This act helps the marketplace, and it helps us keep up with other nations around the world in both intermodal transportation, cargo movement, freight movement. The act seeks to modernize and reinforce the nation's supply chain by boosting important programs like the Port Infrastructure Development Grant Program, which Port Tampa Bay, the Congresswoman, almost a little less than 2 years ago, a $20 million grant to grow our container facilities. The Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act will also invest into the nation's freight system. Highly important for the movement, not just once it gets to a port, how does it get to American consumers? And it also gives ocean freight, intermodal freight, and a seat at the table in the U.S. Department of Transportation by creating the Multimodal Freight Infrastructure and Policy Office to ensure the efficient movement of cargo, and that helps us compete with other modes of transportation. As Congresswoman Castor mentioned, seaports are the economic blood of our nation. Our nation was founded as a seafaring nation. Our ports, our cities grew up around our ports, not the other way around. And as you mentioned earlier, we live, work, and play, don't even realize what we're doing. Port Tampa Bay impacts over 85,000 jobs in this community and a $17.2 billion economic impact. So Port Tampa Bay is ready to serve as a supply chain solution to some of the congestion that we're seeing at other ports around the nation, and we can offer a solution due to the intentional investments that have been made in our port's infrastructure. This intentional and strategic investment enables our port to continue to grow and serve our community. I just want to mention again, Congresswoman Castor has been a tireless advocate for the growth of the funds that keep this port open. She mentioned the dredging, the Army Corps of Engineers, the United States Department of Transportation, and MARAD grants that come to our port. I want to thank her for being here today and thank her for everything she's done, her leadership to help get this historic generational investment in our nation's infrastructure. Thank you.
I know you all have questions about what's going on here at the port because there's so many